All right, all right. Give it a couple minutes, get some people in here, and we'll get started and do my weekly rant. Talk about all things Bigfoot. So we'll give it a minute, just chill, kind of relax. Got a lot to go over and talk about. Girl, you know you left this home, right in the middle of the soul. Anybody gets in? If anybody's in there, let me know how I sound. You know, doing some different things. Of course, people want to email me now. Hey, Sharon, how are you doing? How do I sound? Is everything coming out good? Can you hear me, Sharon? Oh, good. Not too loud. I'm trying out all this new equipment because we got the podcast starting tomorrow. So I went ahead and invested in certain things and stuff like that. So, you know, there's Sunshine. I always look forward to seeing her. Absolutely. Man, we're rocking and rolling, man. It's me and nothing but the ladies. We'll get started here in a minute. Whew. I know Ryan was in here a little bit ago. So. No, I'm doing good. You know, it's been a rough few weeks. Work is killing me, but it's been. But I think I got that mostly taken care of now, hopefully. So, matter of fact, this is the first weekend I've had off, so I didn't get out in the woods today. It was pretty cool out this morning. It was really windy, and you know I don't like going out when it's windy because it's really hard because everything's moving, everything's making a noise. Well, Sharon, I don't usually talk about that, but it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress. So, but I think I've got all the people in place that I need in place, and we'll see how it goes. And yeah, it's not a problem, Sharon. You know, it's just I'm under NDAs at work, and you know I really don't discuss it too much. You know, some close personal friends and stuff like that know what I do, and they know where I do it at, but it's not like a public knowledge thing. I try to keep that separate and stuff like that. So, what was I saying? So I didn't get out. I was gonna head out and did my regular morning routine and went to my local spot and had breakfast and stuff like that. And then when I got on it's a primary highway that goes through our town that I have to take to get to one of my locations. Evidently, there was a horrible accident with fatalities, and so the whole thing was just blocked off and everything. And like I said, it was really windy and stuff like that. So, so sitting in line in traffic, for that going on, I just finally said, I'm just going to head back to the house. I got things to do anyways. So I went and got my truck washed and stuff like that. I haven't, because I have two vehicles. One, I drive to work because it's a hybrid and it's better on gas and stuff like that. And then I have a Dodge truck that I drive on the weekends, and I hadn't driven it because I haven't had weekends off. So I wanted to drive it and, get things pumping through it so it doesn't cause me problems later on. And then get it washed and stuff like that because I had it parked under a tree and had a lot of leaves on it, stuff like that. So I got it all cleaned up, vacuumed out. Looks really good. So anyway, so I didn't get out, but I did get out last week, and I was really excited. I had one day off, and I took advantage of it and went out in the woods. I don't know if you guys watched that video or not. it was a pretty interesting day, and the location I go to, um, how to explain it? It's more long than it is deep. It's like it goes back about a mile, but lengthwise it goes pretty far. It's 3,000 acres, and in every, I don't know, half a mile or so, there's 9 entrances to this location. So I usually go in a very specific entrance that y'all see a lot of the videos start at, because I just like that area and I've had a lot of success in that area. So, but this time I was driving and I looked at this one gate, and it's not much for parking. Now I think that's why I never chose it before, because it's very limited on how you can get your vehicle in there. But I took it anyways. I parked, went in there, and I like it. It's pretty interesting. I found some really, really solid game trails, like super highway. Like these things were worn down. There's a lot of animals going through this game trail. It was really funny because at a time I was entering the trail, I was starting to talk about if I was still hunting, hey, dirt road, how you doing, buddy? So what I was talking about was when I saw this trail and I was talking as I was going through it, that if I was a hunter, this is where I would set up because animals are passing. It'd be a great opportunity to hunt and bag a deer or whatever's traveling that area. And as I was checking out that area, I found a vertebrae. This whole back, about a I don't know, about a foot long piece of backbone. And so I was there investigating that, looking around and checking things out. And because the ground was all tore up and everything, I thought maybe that was where the animal was eaten. And I'm just seeing what little was left and stuff like that. But as I continued down that trail, that's that the game trail actually came out onto another major trail. And that's when I found evidently the site where this thing was absolutely destroyed. It was a good 2 foot wide, 3 feet, 4 foot long area of nothing but hair. So that's where this thing laid there, and they, all the hair was left over. I started finding jaw bones and hip bones and pelvis and hooves. I found 2 legs. I didn't find them all, but I found 2 legs, lower jaw, stuff like that. So I knew now I was at the primary spot. So but as I was watching it, and looking around and documenting it, and it's all on that film. Um, it just dawned on me that this place, there's no hunting here. It's That's why I like going out there. I don't have to worry too much about hunters or either interrupting them or them interrupting me or whatever. And so I was that started bringing up, how did this deer die? What happened to this particular deer and why is it dead? So the only logical conclusion, it was probably a predator. Now, I can only think of 3 predators that would take down, a large deer, like a doe or a buck or something like that. Because this was not a small fawn or anything like that. This was a large deer, and that would be a bear, or that would be a panther, or it could be a group of coyotes or something like that. Now I checked the area, and even where I found the first vertebrae, there was no prints of any animals. But we've had some weather and stuff like that, so it didn't shock me that I didn't find any prints or anything like that. But I was trying to narrow it down. What could have possibly take down this deer, kill it? And the other thing is, if a panther or a bear or something like that, kills something, it's going to drag it away. It's going to find a nice secluded area to eat, and whatever it doesn't eat, it's going to hide so it can come back later and eat some more. Bears bury things. They'll put a lot of debris on top of it. Panthers will lift it up into a tree and leave it up there. Um, now coyotes will eat it and just tear it apart and then just leave whatever they're done with. I don't know if they come back or anything like that to eat it later. But a lot of other animals now will come over and eat the remains and chew on the bones and stuff like that. So it was really weird that this thing was right out in the open. It was killed there, it was ate there, and it was left there. So that really surprised me. So, and there wasn't anything left. It was just bones and hair. There was no skin. There was no nothing else. It was just bones and stuff. So, but I documented it, made sure I at least got it on film, so I can always go back to it and stuff like that. I will at one point go back into that gate area as well. I did enjoy it. I did like it. I was out there for I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. I didn't. I had a lot to do, so I didn't get to spend the full time I usually spend out in the woods. And I did get kind of creeped out, when you see something like that. And then I started having, you know, um, pop noises and different things like that. And there was a hawk, and as a hunter, past hunter, let's put it that way. I don't hunt anymore, but um, two things that'll snitch you out that you're in the woods is squirrels and hawks. When that hawk is flying overhead and he sees you, he just starts, making a lot of racket and letting everything know that you're out there. Um, and that's what was happening. Was this hawk was continuously um, doing that, um, but I never saw him. He was a ways away, and there was a lot of trees between me and him. So whatever alerted his attention, it wasn't me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, it sees something that is a predator. And so I kind of got hold on a sec. Uh, I don't know if that's going to affect us. Something about my computers gave me a notice about restarting. Um, hope not. So anyways, um, so if I lose you guys, I'm sorry, but to err is human. To really mess up, you need a computer. Um, so anyways, when I was out there, I was getting a little nervous because I had this thing kind of alerting me that there's something in the area. I found that kill. So I was a little nervous. So I ended up heading back. I hiked back, you know, quite a ways back there, but I was taking a lot of side trails and different things. I found an interesting tree break that I thought was interesting. So I stopped and looked at that. I did document that, um, and stuff. So I ended up leaving, because, get a little nervous. Most of the time I'm in the woods, I'm by myself, and sometimes that's pretty tough. Um, so I did that. Then what else? Then I started, me and Johnny. Let's talk about that for a minute. We've got the premiere of the podcast tomorrow night. So I hope all you guys have gone to the Sasquatch Unredacted YouTube channel and subscribed and stuff like that. I'd really love you guys to be involved in that as well. Um, like I said, me and Johnny are just coming together. We have our own thing. This is my own thing. He has his own thing. This is just something we're coming together on. We've been friends for a while now. We really, I respect him a lot. I think that the guy's a pretty awesome guy. We have a lot in common, both being military veterans and stuff like that. So we kind of see things the same way, and we kind of bust each other's chops the same way too. But he's one of those guys that I can talk to, and he doesn't necessarily agree with what I have to say, or if I don't agree with what to say, it's all out of respect. It doesn't bother us at all not to agree, but we do agree on quite a bit, and we share a lot of theories and a lot of ideas and stuff like that. So I was very honored that he asked me to co-host with him and create a podcast together. So we're really looking forward to that. And like I said, we've been practicing and with each other, because he's in Georgia, I'm in Florida, and talking about how we want to do things, what we want to do. As you can see, I bought equipment and stuff like that I wasn't using before, because I'm not a podcaster. I'm a field researcher. Um, so I invested in all this to make it better, so it's better quality for the listeners and stuff like that. And he's done the same. So it's been a little bit of investment, but not too bad. I had to buy a new computer and the microphone and the stand and the headphones and just a bunch of little things to make this happen for you guys, so you have a better quality experience. And I hope it's coming out good too, because I hear everything in the headphones. Um, so we'll be doing that tomorrow night. It's going to be an interesting show. We're going to go over some of the stuff that we're doing a little bit different than the other podcasts. It's still the same, but a little, our accountability for people is going to be a little bit different. Because the one thing that me and Johnny are really big on is integrity, and it's a huge thing for us. And it's I'm one of those people that, um, if you don't have that integrity, that honesty and that ownership of yourself, um, it just really bothers me. And those are people that I really don't try to stand around or be around and stuff like that. And Johnny's integrity is unparalleled. He's a great guy, and that's how I met him. Actually, is watching as a long time ago. I was watching one of his videos that he put out, and he had caught some evidence, so he was talking about it and showing it and stuff like that. But then, it was like a week or two later, he comes back on and does another video explaining that he went back, did some more research, did a deep dive in his own video, and came to a different conclusion. And he was apologetic. He goes, "Look, I don't think it was what I thought it was. I think it was this." And that meant a lot. I looked at that and I was like, "Man, that's a great guy. That's a guy that took ownership and said, I made a mistake. I'm going to correct it." He could have just let it go and moved on, but he didn't. He wanted to address that with his subscribers and let them know that he had made a mistake. That right there, I was like, his integrity is unparalleled. That's great. So, um, long story short, both being researchers and stuff like that, we'd hit each other up and swap emails and phone numbers and talked and text and stuff like that. And he also had a podcast with Captain Joe, and they would do a podcast with the Sasquatch Encounter Brigade, and they had me on the show, and and we just became friends after that. And it was a crazy night too, because I was on a podcast and I got home and something happened with the internet at the house. So that podcast I'm actually doing in the cab of my truck. I had to run into town because I live way out in the country. So if my Wi-Fi goes down, I'm kind of hosed. So I had to drive all the way into town and park at a Walgreens to get Wi-Fi to do the podcast, because I didn't want to cancel. If I say I'm going to do something, I want to do something, and I don't want to put them in a position where they had to cancel or didn't have a guest or something like that. So we worked it out, and it wasn't the greatest quality, but because everything was on my cell phone and stuff like that, but we made it happen. So one's integrity and honesty should be our priority in all things that we do. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's how I am with my staff. You know what I mean? Everybody makes a mistake. And I tell my guys all the time, you're going to make mistakes. And they're a lot younger than me. And I've been doing what I do for a long time. So I have a lot of experience to draw back on, and some of these guys don't. And so I always talk to them about integrity and taking ownership of anything that happens, good or bad. So if you make a mistake, it goes a long way with me if somebody and if I come to them and say, "Hey, look, this is what happened. No, yep, that was my fault. I did it. Won't happen again. I'll fix it." Things like that goes a long ways with me. And I'll look at them man to man and say, "All right, good deal. Fix it." And I'll move on. I don't waste time with it. See what I'm saying? If it doesn't get fixed, or they weren't a man of their word and didn't do what they told me they were going to do, then we take it to the next level and we have to have that discussion. But 99% of the time, my guys are on the ball. They're right on it. They'll text me, call me and say, "Hey, look, this is what happened and this is how I handled it. This is what I did." Cool. You know what I mean? Integrity goes a long way. I've had guys really, really make what I would consider really large mistakes, but because they owned it, it became a very, very tiny mistake in my mind. So I let them go. Are you asking Dirt Road? Are you asking me if you can ask a question? It says, "Can I ask you a question?" That is a question. I guess you did ask me a question. So the answer is yes. The answer is yes, Dirt Road. Everybody knows Dirt Road. That's my boy right there. He's up in Indiana. So if you ever get a chance to watch his show, it's Dirt Road Bigfoot, and pretty cool guy. Pretty cool guy. We have long discussions. We were on the phone just under 3 hours. Was it last night? Just over 3 hours. So, but it was my first night off, so I didn't want to go to bed right away. I stayed up way past my bedtime. So So, anyways, like I said, with integrity and like I said, so as we became friends, I invited Johnny and whoever of his team that wanted to come down to Florida to do some research, and they did that. They took me up on the offer. They came down, and we all got together and researched an area for a weekend, and it was a lot of fun. It's the great guys, amazing guys. Then a few months later, they did the same thing. They called and said, "Hey, you guys want to come up to Georgia and go to the Happy Place, which is their secret, area that they go, and they've had some fantastic um, encounters and eyewitness encounters. They've seen this creature out there and stuff like that. So if you ever go back and watch any of Johnny Two Bear stuff, it's very, very interesting stuff what they're catching out there at the Happy Place. The other day you said that Bigfoot migrate. Where do they go? Of course, in your opinion. I don't remember seeing the word migrate. I think they do move. I think they move. I think they go from one location to another. Now, when I think migration, I'm thinking very long journeys, like going from from one state to another because of weather. If it's freezing up there, they want to move to different elevations, because it's been shown in some of the other areas where they have activity at certain times of the year higher in higher elevations than they do lower elevations. I think they move due to any family group or any group for due to resources. If you're in one area for a long period of time, you're going to run out of those resources. You know what I mean? If they're hunters, which I would assume they're hunting, not just eating berries and stuff like that, because you're going to run out of that. Different times of the years, berries don't grow or this doesn't grow, so you find other resources such as hunting rabbits or deer or hog or whatever's a plentiful source. But you're going to run out of those things, or your hunting is going to drive those things out of that area. Well, you have to move with them. You have to go where they're going so you can continue to feed yourself. So I think movement is very important. I think they do move. Okay, they don't stay in one location. There's a lot of researchers that are researching an area, and they'll say it dies. All of a sudden, there's nothing for a month or two. But then a few months later, it picks back up. They start having encounters again or different evidence showing up. That's because I think they move, and so do these other researchers. Is like they move, and I think it's because of resources. I don't think they're migrating like across the state. Like there's a bear in the state of Florida that's been tagged that you can go online and follow where this bear goes. This bear will go 200 miles in a year. You know what I mean? He's all over the place, and I guarantee you, he's moving from one resource to the other, but he's not leaving the state. Um, so I think that's the biggest purpose is for food and resources and stuff like that. That's why we look for water, because no matter where you go, all those animals that they're following or chasing or whatever, even themselves, they have to have water. They have to have a water source. So any ponds, lakes, creeks, rivers, stuff like that are pretty important to have in that area. You don't want to go to a place that just doesn't have any water sources, because I think you'd end up wasting your time. I like going to the water sources and walking around them to see if there's any prints, anything that comes to the water to have a drink or whatever. Sasquatch has been known to be in the water, attempting to catch fish or pulling grasses out and consuming that. There's a lot of, any of you guys ever get lost in the woods or anything like that, there's a lot of aquatic plants that you see around ponds and stuff that if you pull them up, by the roots, and the roots come out, the part that's in the water is edible. The white stalk and the roots and stuff like that are edible. So it says God tells us to be humble and continue to examine ourselves to make sure we do things his way. Why? Because we easily pick up traits that are not good. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Sharon. 100%. We have something here in Wisconsin. I heard something one night I'll never forget. Well, is that Madad? Did I say that right? Madad? 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 Hey, I agree. That's what opened it up for me, was a scary moment in the woods with a vocalization. Even to this day, it's vocalizations that get my blood pumping faster than anything else. That's how it starts. You have an incident like that where you hear something, and it's powerful enough that you don't forget it. And mine was back in 2005, so now we're getting into 20 years ago, and it look where I'm at. It opened up that floodgates for me to try to get out there and find this thing and investigate and try to get more information and stuff like that. And it's been a fantastic journey. It really has. Um, I've got to meet some really fantastic people, good and bad. To me, I learned something from everybody, and so I've been around some great things. A lot of opportunity has opened up for me and stuff like that. So I really do enjoy it. Um, but like I said, my biggest thing is integrity and doing this right. And so on our podcast, we're going to go over tomorrow night. We're going to have Mr. Athos. I don't see him in tonight. I really wish he was on here. But we're going to have him on first. He's going to be on for about 15 minutes to explain some of the legal stuff that we're doing with our podcast. So he'll discuss that, and then so better clear, get everybody to understand what we're doing and stuff. And then after that, we're going to bring on a guest, and this is an eyewitness. I believe this is his first ever podcast. It's the first time he's told his tale. So it'd be interesting to hear what he has to say and what he experienced. And like I said, me and Johnny are not podcasters. We're field investigators. We're researchers. So we're going to go into these interviews more involved in the research, asking questions more research related, and stuff like that. So, but they're going to talk. You know, it's their show. We're gonna bring them on, and then we're gonna chit chat for a moment, and then we'll get into their story. And they got the stage. We're gonna try to very limited on interrupting them in any way, shape, or form, and let them tell their story. Let them tell have let them have their moment. And so we'll probably encourage people to just hold your questions to the end, because we if he's talking and we're giving him that opportunity to talk, we can't really answer your questions because we'd have to interrupt him to answer your question. So we'll probably have you guys at the end when the conversation starts going. You guys also have that opportunity to say, hey, ask this guy this, tell and we'll do that for you. So um that's how we're going to run the show. It's their stage, it's their moment, it's their opportunity. So hey, you see, oh, look at my mask back there. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So um that's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to handle the show, and try not to interrupt them, give them their moment. So um what I wanted to talk to is I do a lot of research even when I'm not out in the field. I'm like everybody else. I'm online. I'm trying. A question will pop in my head, and I'm like, I want to answer the question. I want an answer. So I start, and you know how it is. You have a question, and then it deep dives into something and something and something, and it just keeps going further and further and further. And what started it was a guy I was talking to brought up the fact that you know how long has Sasquatch been here? How long has he been around? Now, I try to answer questions strictly for the state of Florida because this is my backyard. This is where I do the research and stuff like that. So I don't want to answer questions for the Pacific Northwest or anywhere else. So he was he brought up the whole land bridge between Asia and the United States, and or North America and stuff like that. And we get that a lot. And that brought up a big question in my head is it almost makes me want to argue with somebody and say, does North America not have any animals that have always been here? Because everybody keeps coming with that answer. Oh, it came from the land bridge. It came from here. It came from here. It came across the land bridge. North America is a huge continent, and attaches to South America. There are animals that have always been here. They did not come from anywhere else. They were always here. And I think that has a lot and I think the Sasquatch is one of those things that has always been here. That's just my opinion. I think it's always been here. So And then the guy was like, well, they've only found this thing since the 1960s and 50s and stuff, but it's not true. And that's when I brought up the Native Americans. So I ask you guys a question. You throw that answer out there as quickly as you can. When you think of Florida, what's the number one Indian tribe do you think about? When you think of Florida, what's that one Indian tribe? We have quite a few different Indian tribes in the state of Florida, but there's one everybody knows. Okay. So who gets that one real quick? So I started researching that particular tribe. And since somebody's answering, it was the Seminoles. Everybody thinks Seminole Indians. Okay. And what was that called? Oops. So I started researching the Seminole tribe and how long have they actually been in the state of Florida? There you go, sunshine. You're there. You got it. Um, how long have the Seminole tribe been here? That was a great thing. I started asking myself, I said, man, okay, we know the Seminole tribe, and we get a lot of our information about Sasquatch passed down from Native American tribes. They said, yeah, we've dealt with these things in the past. We traded with them. We were at war with them, whatever. We've heard all the stories. Okay. But how far back do those stories go? Okay. So that brought up, well, how long have the Seminole Indians been here? Does anybody know how long the Seminole Indians have been in the state of Florida? Because it blew my mind when I found this out. You're not going to guess it. 14,000 years. 14,000 years is how far back certain aspects of the Seminole tribe were found to go far, that far back. And I was like, holy crap, 14,000 years. So if the Seminole Indians can date stuff that far back, how far back does Sasquatch go? How far back does Skunk Ape, in the state of Florida go? So people that think they crossed the land bridge usually think Bigfoot evolved from Gigantopithecus. Absolutely. That's right on the money, dirt road. They always do. But even, you know, some of the bigger names in the field, like Jeff Meldrum and stuff like that, they'll use that as a comparison, but they also agree that Sasquatch, look at the Patterson Gimlin film, does not resemble a Gigantopithecus or what we think a Gigantopithecus actually look like. And when we do see the things that resemble what a Gigantopithecus is, I think its movement would be completely different than what we saw Patty doing. Patty was very human like, very upright, moving quickly, not running, but you could tell taking up some mileage pretty quick there. So I don't think it's Gigantopithecus or related to Gigantopithecus. I also don't think it's related to humans. I think it's its own entity. It's its own creature. It's its own what we call a proto-human or a proto-humanoid hominoid. Um, it's just another one that has lived with us because now they found because science said only one. Remember, Jeff Meldrum brings this up a lot, where they said only one could be in existence at a time. Now they found out that's not true. There's multiple that have been all living at the same time. So it's not impossible or not improbable, and it most likely happened that these different entities, these different creatures, lived right alongside humans, right alongside humans. So when you look at the Seminoles and you look at other native tribes, and when they talk about the history, and they talk about their interactions with these creatures, they're interacting, they're living side by side, they're in the same space, they're living in the same sandbox. So they're trying to get along or they're not getting along. Either way, they're coexisting. I believe that Sasquatch is a creature being that God created in its own itself. I believe all things are created by God, so he had something to do with it, I'm sure. Um, so the so I think they're different. You know what I mean? Now, the Seminoles back in the day, because we call it a skunk ape, a yeti, Bigfoot, whatever, Sasquatch. Um, but it's called the Seminoles call it the Esti Kapkaki, okay, which means large hairy man. That's what they called it back then, years and years, and way back in their native tongue. they were calling it a large hairy man. So it's been here for a very, very, very long time. And it's always lived parallel to humans. Okay. So why couldn't it today? See what I'm saying? You've got multiple sightings. Okay. Now, if you've got 10,000 sightings throughout the United States, it can't be a mass hallucination and it can't be 10,000 people lying. Okay. Some are, some are misidentified. Those are happening. Even if you weed out most of that, you're still going to have thousands of eyewitness reports, and we've got eyewitness reports from law enforcement, pastors of churches, um, children, women. It runs the gauntlet. Okay. We have areas here that I read this report in one of the areas that we researched in the past that a state trooper actually had an encounter, because how state troopers will pull off somewhere, eat their lunch or whatever, and privacy and stuff like that. And he had pulled off into this wooded area and just kind of parked there, and he had an encounter. Then I heard about another Florida state trooper up in the Green Swamp area, same thing. He had backed into a dirt road that led into the Green Swamp. If I remember right, he got out of the vehicle to relieve himself or something like that. He was doing his lunch. It was late at night. And when he walked to the back of the vehicle, there was this thing standing there, and he said it was like 8 feet tall, big hairy thing. Scared him so bad that, I think if I remember right in his report, that he changed where he worked. He didn't want to have to go into that area any time in the future. So I think he changed his zone, whatever he was patrolling and stuff like that. And these are people that we know are trained observers and professionals, and when they tell us something, we tend to believe them. um, you've got people on military bases, that have seen these things on military bases. um, it's there's too much information out there to say that it doesn't exist. And when we look back at how long they've been here, there's cave drawings. I don't know how old they are, but they're there, and people show these cave drawings, these large Bigfoot, paintings. Um, I never did a deep dive to find out, the age of those paintings, but I guarantee you they're thousands of years old. So they've been here for a long time. They've been here for a while. My goal is to make sure they're here for a lot longer. Right now, like I said, in the state of Florida, there's this ongoing thing. That's, we love our governor. DeSantis has really done the state well, but in one aspect we're not happy with is the state is taking land that was preserved, or it was a state park or whatever, and they're starting to sell it off to put in golf courses. It's like 18 different locations throughout the state that they want to put golf courses out there, versus just having it as a protected wilderness area. And I'm not really happy about that. It happened to us here. I've talked about it in the past in my area where I had the golf ball incident where it just showed up on a stump one time out in the swamp. There's a golf ball. But there is a golf course a few miles away that's kind of like cut out into that forest. And so it wouldn't be, uncommon for this creature to go past that, find a golf ball, think it's interesting, and keep it or whatever. So, um, if government acknowledged Bigfoot, forestry, and state national parks would be shut down. I don't think so. Um, you think about this. I think it will have an impact, but you got to look at it both sides. Will people be scared enough not to go in the woods, and that hurts the industry, the tourist industry for state parks? Would the government shut it down? If the government acknowledges it, that means they already know it exists, which we all truly believe that the government does know these things do exist, but they haven't shut anything down already. See what I'm saying? They've allowed the state parks to stay open, unless there's a government shutdown. A lot of people don't realize when there's a government shutdown, the federal parks shut down, but state parks and stuff like that do not. So I don't think they would do that. I wanted to create a big red flag, but it would be hard to keep people out. It really would. You know, you're talking millions and millions and millions of acres of land. Um, and some of those places are still opened up for hunting and stuff like that. So I don't see them closing them down. But I also don't ever see them acknowledging the existence. But I think they do know they're there. I think they do. And I think that if a particular Sasquatch becomes an issue, I think they do what they can to either move that issue on to another area so it's no longer an issue, or maybe they dispatch them. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stories out there that pop up that, you know, military personnel have been sent to kill a Sasquatch. I don't know. Um, that'd be a very difficult thing to prove, and it would be a sad thing if it is true. It would be a sad thing. Um, for these things to live as long as they have survived under the conditions that they've been surviving under, um, they deserve to live. They deserve to have an area. They deserve to live in peace. And that's really my ultimate goal, is to one day, you know, be able to just throw a ton of evidence in somebody's lap and say, okay, there's enough here. What do we do? See what I'm saying? We have bears. We know bears hurt people. Bears attack people, and they're not closing down parks or anything like that due to bears. But if a bear does become a problem, then they will go out there and dispatch that bear. So, but I think if they would acknowledge it and open it up, where science will now take it seriously and spend the money to actually do some fantastic research, um, tag them or something so we can monitor populations, monitor, areas and stuff like that. I think there's a great deal to learn, a great deal to learn, and protect them. And maybe if we at some point we can no longer be a threat to them and they see us as just another entity that they can deal with. And because according to the Native Americans, at one point they traded with them. There was a positive relationship between the skunk ape and their tribes. But there's also horror stories, that don't go in the woods. And they bring the little kids in and put them in the tents at a certain time because they didn't want them to be snatched by the Bigfoot and stuff like that. Those things happen. you know um so I think there's good and bad, but we don't have that happening now. I mean, I know everybody wants to jump on the 411 and stuff like that, but you know who knows. There's never been any concrete evidence. I think there's more evidence that proves that these things are nice than they are mad. um when you read accounts, or you read the reports, or you listen to the people's firsthand experience, it's always pretty passive. Okay. A bluff charge is not attacking you. It's just their way of saying, please get back, go away, we don't want you here. Tossing rocks, is, to me, it's more or less trying to get your attention. These things are strong, they're powerful, they're fast. I think if they wanted to dispatch humans every opportunity they get, they would do it, and we'd have a lot of missing people, a lot of bodies being found in the woods or something like that. And that's just not happening. When you read the reports, it's usually a hiker, a hunter, a fisherman just accidentally running into one of these things, and the Sasquatch is usually just as shocked as they are. You know what I mean? And when you go in, if you're hiking or whatever, you might have been, downwind or whatever, where this thing couldn't smell you and he couldn't hear you. So all of a sudden you guys cross paths. He wouldn't know where you were coming and you weren't aware he was coming. Sometimes we are aware. We smell something and we go, what is that? And all of a sudden this thing walks out of the woods, and it's usually a brief look at each other, and then the thing takes off, goes his way. And of course we're going in the opposite direction ourselves. So I think the majority of reports and stuff like that are pretty passive. I think they're more interested and entertained by us. I've had a couple of encounters where they've come into my camp, or I assume it's them. I assume. I won't say with a 100% certainty, but other people have. Other people have camped in their car and looked out the window, and this thing's staring at them through the window, or but nobody's been attacked. It didn't bust through the window and reach in and yank them out of the car or anything like that. They're not grabbing a tent, and shredding it apart, and grabbing somebody and taking them off into the woods and stuff like that. Even that old account, his name slips me right now, but the one that was carried off in his sleeping bag back in the day and carried for miles, and but they never harmed him. See what I'm saying? I'm not saying they weren't had any intentions. They might have had intentions of fattening him up and eating him. I don't know, but he was in their presence for 3 days. He watched them. He actually had interaction between the male and stuff like that. So, but it was passive. Now it brings up a big question: is why did the Sasquatch pick him up and take him to where Sasquatch lived? Um, was he going to make this man his pet, or was he actually trying to open up a door of communication? I don't know, but it never harmed him. And then when the guy ran, the guy left. It didn't chase them. These things didn't chase him down. He was able to get out of there, survive, and tell his tale. So people get lost in a park by pure stupidity. My experience from having to find them at Florida state parks. Oh, absolutely, Chris. Absolutely. Good to see you, Chris. I agree. It's happened to me, Chris. I've gone out in the woods, got so caught up on what I was doing and not paying attention to the time, not paying attention to other things around me, and I've gotten lost. I have gotten lost. I've openly admitted that many times that I wasn't paying attention, and time got away from me. It started getting dark, and I truly, truly thought I was going to have to lean against a tree and sleep there overnight. You know what I mean? And it was my own stupidity. It was me not paying attention to what I was doing, getting caught up in my research and stuff like that, and stuff like that. Because when I get out there, I daydream, and I really enjoy being out in the woods, and it's relaxing. It's where I recharge my batteries. And sometimes I'm not filming. I'm just walking. I'm not filming. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about work and thinking how do I fight this battle at work, and how do I solve this issue, or how do I help this person and stuff like that. And so I lose my I lose where I'm at, and pure stupidity, and I get lost and stuff like that. I've gotten lost on trails because there's so many trails in some of the areas I go to that they all look the same, and I can't find the right trail to get back out. Had one woman who crossed the park boundary fence that we had to find. Oh yeah. I mean, the rule of thumb is, they say if you get lost, is to pretty much stay where you're at and let them come to you and find you. Because if you're constantly moving and stuff like that, they're not going to find you. And again, like you said, if she crossed a boundary, had to actually cross a fence, um, you know, all of a sudden she's not in the area that you're looking for anymore. And she's very lucky if y'all found her. She's very lucky. Um, like me personally, if I was in the woods and I came across a fence, I'd just like, okay, I did not cross a fence to get where I'm at. So I'm not crossing the fence, because evidently that doesn't go back to where I want to go. I use that as a sign to say I'm heading in the wrong direction, because there was no fence, prior to me getting lost. Um, so I do have, a compass and stuff like that, and little things like that. But I went out with a guy named Brian, and he has this really fantastic GPS thing, and it marks out the trail. All you got to do is follow the trail back on this thing, and I really need to get one of those. I really do. I don't know how much they cost, but being self-funded, try to do the best you can. Oh yeah, yeah. There's a place where I go to, if you ever seen any of the videos, Chris, where I get to the back of the property, and there is the same thing. It's a very large fire break and a fence, and it's a weird thing about that fence. It depends on what area that I'm in. The fence is usually a barbed wire fence. It's probably, I don't know, my waist or this area when I'm standing, um, which is common. A 4 strand in the state of Florida, 4 strand um, barbed wire. But then there's this one area I go into, same property, but all of a sudden that fence is 10 feet tall. I mean, 10 feet tall. And then you got this 10-foot fence. Then you've got a pretty large fire break. And then you have that barbed wire fence again. Okay. So I'm like, why is this fence all of a sudden in this area that tall. See what I'm saying? Um, if they a lot of times in the state of Florida, land like that, they'll lease it out to cattle. So there's people. It'll surprise you that you're camping one day and you wake up because you hear something and there's a cow right there in the middle of your campsite, looking at you all crazy eyed, because a lot of these places will, contract it out and allow the cattlemen to let their cows roam through there and stuff like that. But in this case with that fence, cows don't jump. They don't jump over barbed wire fence. Let alone jump a 10-foot fence. We do have fences that keep deer out, but it's nowhere 10 feet tall. It's not that high. So I don't know. Do you think Dogman is related to Bigfoot? Decal. Oh man, Decal. You asked the one question I really, really, really try to avoid, buddy. I really do. You want my honest opinion? You really want my answer? You know, because I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to upset anybody. Like again, these are my opinions. This is my theory on it. But that is a question I usually stay away from. But I'll answer it if you want me to. So I just don't want to upset anybody. But so, anyways, so you have this high fence, and it's just weird. It's just out in the middle of nowhere, dividing the property. It's at the county line, is what it is. It's at the county line. You know, um, Dirt Road's wrong button because me. Hey, listen, Decal. Me and Dirt Road have had that discussion. Just to be honest with you, he knows how I feel about it. Dirt Road knows where I stand. Um, I don't mind answering it. I just don't want you upset with me. I don't want you, you know, well, I'm not going to subscribe to him anymore because he said this and this. That's not what I want to do. Like I said, it's just my opinion. That's all it is. And everybody, I welcome other people's opinions. I really do. And I don't, you know, dog anybody for what they believe in or what they do, but the bottom line is I absolutely without he goes, yes. Decal's like, yes, I want you to answer. Um, so the bottom line is no, I don't believe Dogman exists whatsoever at all. I think Dogman is misidentified. If it is as big as they say it is, then it is a Sasquatch. Sasquatch comes in all different shapes and sizes. There are Sasquatch reports they do have a slight snout. Some have the rounded mouth like a chimpanzee. Um, some are flat faced. Some have big noses, pointed noses. I've heard the gauntlet. I've heard the gauntlet. But as far as it actually being a dog or wolf or canine, I don't believe it at all. And and this is one of the things we'll probably address at some point in on the podcast, because I've been, I've told people that's a subject I really do want to bring up on the podcast and get it out in the open. I don't believe in Dogman. I absolutely not, because there's not oh no problem, Decal, you're good. Um, there's not a lot of evidence for it. Okay. And I bring up one of the key things I bring up is um the Melba Ketchum DNA study. Y'all have all heard about that study, right? Well, she had hundreds of samples sent to her from all over the country from different researchers and different people like that. So they all sent all this hair or scat, whatever samples they had to have her test. Okay. None of it came back canine or anything like that. None of it. See what I'm saying? And yeah, I agree, Chris. I've never had a dogman encounter in the state of Florida. Have not read one or anything like that. So, anyways, Melba Ketchum does this study, and none of it comes back canine or wolf or coyote or anything like that that would say, "Hey, we got another species." Now they're saying that this next study that she's doing will show it. So I'll be interested to see what that report says and stuff like that. But you have to understand something, that Dogman did not come out in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It didn't come out until recent, okay? In the last, let's say 10 years, or probably even less, okay? So where was Dogman this whole time? See what I'm saying? Even when, as a kid, when you read stories about werewolves and stuff like that, it was mostly European. You know what I mean? Even the movie, American Werewolf in London or whatever, it's more of a European thing, a Scottish thing or Irish thing and stuff like that, where they dealt with, this creature at nighttime and stuff like that. It wasn't something um that was big in the United States. See what I'm saying? Um, but if it had been here, even that Native Americans, they talk about a creature that shifts and stuff like that, but we're talking spiritual here. Um, there's never you got to understand if you have an 8 foot tall, let's pick a number, 500 pounds, 800-pound werewolf in the United States. How big is the footprint? How big is that footprint? Okay, it's got to be pretty large. Every time anybody has sent me a picture of a what they would claim as a dogman print or anything like that, it really falls into the category of a large dog. You know what I mean? I've been around a lot of large dogs. You guys have been around. Great Danes have big feet. Rottweilers have big feet. There's a lot of dogs out there that have big feet. People don't realize how big a coyote is. If you ever in the presence of a wolf, one of these northern gray wolves or white wolves, all these wolves, they are huge. Okay. So if you come across a very large dog print, and a lot of times when I see these dog prints, they never give anything for size comparison. They just tell you, oh, this thing was 8 inches across. But that's just you telling me it's 8 inches across. You didn't put anything there for us to say if it is or is not 8 inches. See what I'm saying? That's where the science comes in. You got to give us something for comparison and stuff like that. And they never do that. And so if you're looking at something 800 pounds and 8 feet tall, it's got to have a huge footprint. It's got to have a very large, spot, in the substrate that you're like, holy crap, that is the biggest thing. Look at a bear. We've all seen bear prints, and bear prints grizzlies and stuff get huge. See what I'm saying? And they get what? Grizzly's what, 1,200 pounds? A large male grizzly, 1,200 pounds, something like that. Um, and they're leaving prints and stuff like that. We're just not seeing enough on Dogman. Now, again, I'll keep my mind open, okay, because I do believe there's other cryptids out there that also need to be discovered and stuff, and have been sighted and stuff like that. So I do leave the door open, but I am skeptic of it for the simple fact that where has it been all this time? There's not a lot. When back when they were researching in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, really heavy, that was the height of the Bigfoot phenomenon, and they're out in the woods. There was lots of people out in the woods looking for this thing. Never one time did anything Dogman related ever came on the radar. But then all of a sudden now we've got Dogman on the radar. But it's mostly just stories. It's mostly people telling their account and stuff like that, um, which is fine, you know. But we really need the receipts. We really need to have more. Okay, I saw one just the other day, decal, where this guy posted a picture. He claimed it was on a, what did he claim it? It was on his GoPro. He said he filmed this thing at nighttime on his GoPro, and the picture that he is showing, he says the picture I'm showing is it zoomed in. I had to zoom it in and clear it up, and he's telling me all this stuff. But he never tells how far was the actual picture, the original. We didn't see the original, and I don't know much about GoPros. I don't use GoPros, but do GoPros see well at night? You guys may know better than me. I've never used a GoPro. I don't use them. I have a body cam that does have night vision, so I can click that on, but I don't know anything about GoPros. But this is basically a black and gray photo. But like, again, he didn't bring the receipts. He doesn't say, here's the original, and you can see it. He doesn't tell how far it was. Oh, it was 50 yards away. I zoomed in. This is what it looks like now, blah, blah, blah. He just says, this is a zoomed in picture of a dog man with my GoPro, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And we get that a lot. We get that a lot where people just throw stuff out there. And as a researcher, we've got to look at it and kind of weed through it and figure it out, and stuff like that. Like that one, I'm sure you guys saw, maybe Decal saw it, or maybe Chris saw it, where the guy was filming over what he claimed was a dead baby Bigfoot. Okay. And he's walking by, he's right above it, filming this thing and stuff like that. And the first question I had was, would you say no? GoPros are not good at night if lights is minimal. There's no lights in this picture. This is, as far as I don't know. Like I said, his story is really weird. If I find it again, I'll pass it on to your dirt road so you can look at this picture. Um, yeah, it looks like a dog standing, but it really only looks like it's maybe 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall. I mean, it's not a very big dog or anything like that. But there's no telling what it is. There's no telling what it is. So I'm not sure. Um, Lost my train of thought. Where was I at, Dirt Road? What was I talking about? Where was I at? Side effects of being 55 years old. Be 56 next month, people. Be 56 next month. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Oh, baby Bigfoot. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. So this guy's filming this baby Bigfoot. Okay. It's a maybe 30 to 60-second short is all it is. So people are like, oh, look at this. Look at this. They found it. It's a baby Bigfoot, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I had key questions. Okay. The guy never explains what he did with it. He doesn't explain how he found it. And why is the very first time we're seeing this is on TikTok? See what I'm saying? So you have to look at everything and say, okay, this guy might be just trying to hoax us and stuff like that. You know what I mean? To this day, y'all all know Sonny Vader. Sonny Vader, and I'm going to admit it, Sonny Vader makes some great videos. He really does. He put some effort into it. It's not a quick hoax. He put some time and effort into it. But he has a very distinct style. So I can always pick out a Sonny Vader video just like that. And those videos are still constantly being recycled. And people will create a new narrative for it. It's the same video I saw 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but now it's got a new story behind it. You know what I mean? Those people are going to be out there. They're going to be out there. If you do a trail cam photo, okay, make sure that if you're going to post a trail cam photo, it has all the information on it. Trail cam photos have a lot of information. You see it around the border and stuff, time, date, battery, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of information there. And a lot of pictures have metadata. So, come with that information and you'll do a lot better. I will ignore a pixelated picture like that. You know what I mean? If you take a picture of me right now, then zoom in, screen capture, zoom in, screen capture, zoom in. All of a sudden, I'm this very pixelated. You have no idea what you're looking at anymore, but somewhere in there, you can find a face or you can find something. And then somebody's going to claim this was a Bigfoot. This was a Sasquatch. See what I'm saying? I'm not going to accept that photo. I want to see the original. That's what I want to see, the original. That's why when you guys watch my channel, I don't do a lot of photographs at all. I film because I want to catch this thing in motion. Okay. Just like the Patterson Gimlin film or the Freeman footage. Because if you catch it moving, it's going to be critiqued just as hard as any other photo. I get that. It's going to be critiqued. You're never going to prove it to everybody. There's always going to be that one side and says, well, it's a good video, but it's still fake. Those things happen. I'm okay with that. But I need to catch it in motion, and it gives you a better opportunity, like the Patterson Gimlin film, to when you see it in motion, it answers a lot more questions, and you can scientifically look at things and narrow things down and stuff like that. If it's in motion, you can go back to that location. And I mean, they're still going back to Bluff Creek to this day and still finding the original trees, the original stumps, the original things that were there back then. So they're still able to do some science today on the Bluff Creek incident, even though that area does not come close to looking like it did back when Patterson shot the film. So, but it's a moving entity. That's why you see the muscles moving, you see the head turning, you see things that now have to be explained on how it was done and stuff like that. So that's why I do film. I just can't do photographs. I just can't. If you can tell me, hey, what do you think about this? This is a screenshot of a film. I'll say, okay, it's interesting. Now let's see the film because you say you have it. Now let's look at both. And that's all I'm saying is you want to have that film. You want to have that extra whatever, you know. So, but like I said, the original thing was I was researching Seminole Indians. I think Sasquatch has been here a very, very, very long time. He's more than 200 years, more than 2,000 years. I think he's been here a very, very long time. And he's learned to survive and he's going to continue to learn to survive. Um, but we're at such a boom in population growth and building and changing the landscape. I think these things are, they definitely are, would be today, they would be on an endangered species list. As far as I'm concerned, they'd be on an endangered species list. We say, okay, even wolves will stand on back legs for a time. Yes, they will. We've seen it. I don't get excited over pictures because of the tomfoolery. Absolutely, Chris. I agree 100%. 100%. Bears can sniff out the batteries and trail cams. Wonder if Bigfoot can and avoids them. There's a lot of speculation there that might be a true statement, Decal. But it's one of those things we don't know. We really don't know. It's a good as theory as anything else because they are not caught on trail cam very often. Now there are some rare occasions that it has been caught um, on trail cam. I think they can be caught on trail cam. I just think we got to be a little bit sneaker about it and stuff like that. Um, Technology is getting better all the time, guys. I've got, and Dirt Road to tell you, Dirt Road's got the same piece of equipment. We have a piece of night vision that does not use IR at all, and it shoots in color. At midnight, in the middle of the woods, it shoots in color, and it does not use IR whatsoever. See what I'm saying? But then again, like you said, bears do smell the inside of these things, the lithium batteries and stuff like that. I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know. Maybe they avoid it just because they know it's there. They see it that it's there because that's their backyard. They know. And I'm that way. My guys will tell you. The other officers I work with, they tell people, dude, don't touch anything on his desk because he will notice it when he comes in. You know what I mean? I noticed the slightest change in my office, slightest, littlest. I went in one day and said, "Who tried to get in my safe?" That's the first thing I said one day. Who tried to get in my safe? And they're like, "Oh, no, no, no." I said, "Nope, somebody tried to get in my safe." And the reason why, and I never told them why I knew, but I knew because I had it set on a certain number, and it was not on that number when I came to work. So I knew somebody had changed that. So I noticed little things. I noticed a thumbtack has been moved. I mean, it's that anal, really. So most of the guys leave my stuff alone. So um, I'm just like that. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be. Some cameras they do make a noise. They do. There's a slight hum or slight buzz, or they make a noise at the moment they take a photograph or the moment they turn on and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean but like I said, technology is getting better, and the more the stuff comes out, the better it's going to be, and it really helps us even further. Like I said, I think one of the biggest things out there that I think is going to help Bigfoot research is if they ever get lidar to the point where like night vision before 20 years 30 years ago a average guy like me could never own night vision. It's only the military had night vision, but now look, you can buy it anywhere. And I'm hoping lidar gets that way, and you can fly a drone and lidar an area and see what's in there. Lidar does not pick up animals or not even a something the size of an elephant. It flies over, it reads the terrain is what it does. It eliminates the surface so it can see the terrain. If they can improve this where not only does that, but it shows you anything from the terrain up to 10 feet, let's say, we might be able to see even more. We might be able to say, hey, that looks weird. That looks like somebody standing. You know what I mean? And we can narrow it down to being a Sasquatch or just a large man or something like that. I think LiDAR is the future, right along with night vision and thermal. I think thermal is a very, very important tool. It really helps. It really helps. And right now it's wintertime. I mean, even in Florida, South Florida, it was cold today. I think when I got up this morning, it was 40 something degrees. The other day, it was 37 degrees when I went to work. So we can use thermal. We can use thermal. Usually in Florida, you can't use thermal till, you know, way wee hours of the morning when the sun's gone down and everything's got an opportunity to cool down. I recorded electronic sounds from one piece of equipment and caught it on another. Yeah, yeah. We have a lot of equipment that makes noise. Absolutely. You know, um, I think that I had 21 hours worth of audio. Still didn't do anything with it. Audio is very difficult to work with. I got audio. What was that? Audacity. I can't figure that thing out. I really can't. I got to get with Randy Harrington. He knows that thing pretty well, and my schedule's been so killer lately, and I feel bad that I haven't been able to get with him and go over that thing. But um, I left my audio out there, my digital recorder and everything, and a squirrel found it, and a squirrel made that thing his best friend for a long time in my audio. I was like, could not wait until the sun went down and that squirrel got out of my business. You know what I mean? But that squirrel definitely liked what I put in that tree, and he was there for a very long time. Um, so it smelt it, saw it, whatever, heard it. I don't know, but that squirrel did, and he liked it. He liked it. But I went through that 21 hours. Really, the only thing that really got me was there was something, and that's the thing with audio. You don't know what direction it's coming from. I can just assume what direction it came from, which I think is behind the recorder on the opposite side of the tree that I had this thing in, because that was where the thickest brush was. And something was definitely breaking brush, walking through, and walks right past the audio. And you just hear it walking away and fades off, and it's gone. It's gone. And that happened. I think the time frame was like at 8 o'clock at night. So it was already dark and stuff like that. So if I remember the time frame, it was like 8 o'clock at night. And but it was breaking brush. You know, I don't know any animals that do that at night. Just break brush, just walk right through stuff like it's non-existent. So yeah, see, Dirt Road heard it. I called Dirt Road and let him listen to it and stuff like that. It's very weird, but again, it's anecdotal because it's audio. And when I got with Brian, I said, "Dude, man, this is what happened. Man, this is amazing. We have got to start putting up trail cams or something that's actually just watching the um, audio, so we can see what is messing with the audio, like a squirrel or a bird or whatever." But that day, I would have given $1,000 to find out what it was that walked past that tree and past the audio. It was very interesting, very interesting. I still have the recording. I just don't know what I'm going to do with it. You know what I mean? I just not really set up to deal with the audio at all. So it's just another. It's hard when you're a one man band. You can't do it all. So, all right. Any questions? Any questions? Throw them at me because I don't have any more on my side to give you, other than please, guys, if you haven't signed up for Sasquatch Unredacted, please do. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and Johnny's a great guy, and I know you guys are gonna like him, and we it's nice to have somebody like that we're collaborating with, and we're just gonna have a good time, and you guys have been amazing support. Some of you guys have been with me when I was 5 subscribers, 10 subscribers, 12 subscribers, whatever. And now I'm at, I don't know, 1,070. So you guys have been amazing, just amazing subscribers. And I always thank you guys. Y'all know that. I always thank you guys. Um, this is just another venture, you know what I mean? And if you guys can support and be a part of it and subscribe to that channel, we greatly appreciate it. It's just one more thing that, me and Johnny, we're go-getters. And I know me, I'm a hard worker. When I get involved in something, I'm all in. I mean, just all in. And he's finding that out. I'm very motivated. I do what I can. And I do it. It's all about being successful and but also having fun. And that's why I told him. I said, I'm not going to do this if we're not having fun. We got to have fun. And you guys know me well enough. I'll probably, if I start getting bored or something like that, I will start doing stupid shit. I'm just saying, I will do stupid stuff. Can you post a link for the new channel? Uh, I don't know how to do it on this right now. But it is Sasquatch Unredacted. Um, but if you go to the Facebook, we have everything there too on Facebook. So we do have a Facebook page, Sasquatch Unredacted Facebook. We also have the Sasquatch Unredacted YouTube channel. We also have Sasquatch Unredacted at gmail.com. So if any of you guys have ever, Chris, um, Decal, share, anybody, if y'all have ever had an encounter and you want to discuss it, you want to come on the show, let us know. Just let us know. Email me and let me know. You can either email me at Sasquatch Unredacted at gmail.com, or you can at my regular channel, which is BFFG Bigfoot Research at gmail.com. Or mention it when we're live like this, because I'm still going to do this. This is not going to change, guys. I really, really enjoy interacting with you guys. And it's kind of like we're family. I like getting on here and talking to you guys and stuff. It's really a highlight when I put it out there that I'm going to do this. I'm looking forward to it all day. I'm like, man, I can't wait to get set up and do this and stuff like that. So I look forward to talking to you guys. I really do. You guys are awesome. Um, I appreciate it, Sharon. Thank you. And if you scroll in there, Sharon, at the post, you'll see my name and I'm posting. The link is there. Okay. The link is there. So if we can, there really, I don't push for subscribers. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to you guys. I'm thankful to God that we get the subscribers that we get. Um, there is one goal when it comes to subscribers. That goal is 500. And the reason why that number is significant is if your YouTube channel gets up to 500, it kind of opens up a little bit more what you can do. Okay. And there's things I cannot do on that channel that I do on this one, but I can't do it on that channel till it hits that 500 mark. So that'll be the first priority, is not just getting great guests and having great shows, but trying to get to that 500 mark. So it opens up opportunity for me to be able to do other things to help that channel grow and stuff like that. So I really, really greatly appreciate you guys if you guys will help out and do that and stuff like that. And always hit the like button because it helps the what do you call it? Why does that word slip me? Analytics. It helps with the analytics. So if you hit the like button, it really helps the analytics and kind of pushes your channel further up, so it's seen more and heard more and stuff like that. So hitting the like button, that's why you always see it on all the channels. Hey, hit the like button. Hey, hit the like button. I'm not going to tell you to hit the like button or force you to do it or anything like that. I'm just explaining to you how it works. If you hit the like button, it actually does help the channel because it puts us further up in the analytics and people will see us more and stuff like that. Do we join a channel or you personally by clicking on your name? On the Facebook page, you just hit join or whatever. When I get off of here, Sharon, I go in, I pull up the Facebook page, and then I approve everybody because me and Johnny are the administrators. So once you tell me you have done that, I'm going to go in there and then I'll approve you and say, yep, you're good to go. And then you'll be able to look at everything that we've posted on there so far. Most of it's been just stuff promoting the channel because we don't have a lot right now. I've done a couple of little short videos. Johnny did a video. I did a video. I put those out there so people can, get an idea of, Johnny and me, and just, it's promoting the channel and stuff like that. But I will, as soon as I get off of here, Sharon, I will pull that Facebook page up, and any of you guys that have already hit join, I will go in and approve it. I'll approve it right away. So I think on the Facebook page, we got like 30 something people already. But it's a YouTube channel is what we really, really need to grow. The Facebook page is just where we're going to let you know what's coming up. Okay. I'm really good about getting information out there. So when we have a guest coming on, I'm going to put it out there and say, hey guys, we got a great show coming up this week. This is who we're going to have. Look forward to seeing you there, stuff like that. And then that's what the Facebook page is, and an opportunity to, you can tell me if you like the show, didn't like the show, or Johnny's great, but Rick sucks. Get him out of there. Yeah, whatever. So, definitely your support means a lot. So, all right, guys, we've been on for an hour and 20. I think it's one of the longest times I've been on here. Um, God bless each and every one of you guys, and I really appreciate you. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Everybody, you guys were great, very interactive, asking questions. Decal was great, and Chris was great. Sharon, I got to see Sunshine. That's always fantastic. Dirt Road, he's my buddy. He's there. I know he supports me, and I support him, and he's a great guy. Guys, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate you guys, and only wish the best for you guys, and you guys have a fantastic weekend. I will be doing this again in 2 weeks because I do this every other weekend. I'm going to try and get out in the woods tomorrow, though. I am going to do what I can to get out in the woods tomorrow. So if I do, then of course I'll put a new video out and stuff like that. But remember, tomorrow night is our premiere. 8 o'clock tomorrow night is the premiere of Sasquatch Unredacted. So please, thank you, Decal. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Please check out the channel. Let's, and help us grow. I mean, we might trip on our face. We might fall down and break our nose. We're going to just keep trying it all the time. We're trying to improve, try to get better, do more things. And we're going to grow. And I hope you guys stick with us as the foundation that started it all with us, and you grow with us and stuff like that. So I greatly appreciate you guys. Well, I'm going to go. Again, God bless each and every one of you guys. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, we do, Dirt Road. Me and Johnny greatly appreciate it. I'm very big on subscribers. Very big on subscribers. I give them all the credit, every opportunity I get. Very thankful. So, but I will talk to you guys later. And I think the only time you won't hear from me is probably Christmas weekend. That's probably the only time, because I know people are busy with their families doing other things. So that weekend, maybe take a break from the whole Bigfoot thing for a weekend. I don't do anything for Christmas. It's just, Saturday, and I have to work. I work, we're a 365-day, 24-hour a day people. And my 2 days are Saturdays and Sundays. And that's the only 2 days I get off. And I'll probably spend those being lazy. I don't know. Algorithm. That's the word. Thank you, Decal. Man, I tell you, man, my mind, dude. It's I'm gonna be 56 next month, guys. 56. Ugh. All right. Take care, guys. God bless. And I will talk to you guys soon. And have a fantastic weekend, guys.